Raw put me in a bad mood. It did, man. Boy, Raw, man. It was just something about Raw. It was torture, bro. It was torture. And it was torture from the jump. Becky Lynch starts the show, announces herself as the Raw's #1 pick, then says it's time to be Becky Two Belts again because she never lost the Raw title. This brought out Charlotte, who is still here, says that she made Becky famous, that you will always be looking up to me. So they do have some unfinished business, which Bianca Belair came out there and Becky Lynch started egging on a fight between them. Charlotte says she only gives out opportunities, not charity. Becky was egging the match on. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville came out there, made Charlotte and Bianca the main event, and I said, to myself, of course, this is going to end in disqualification. And guess what happened? Match ended in disqualification because Bianca Belair was about to win via the KOD, and Becky was on commentary yet again, being mushmouth yet again. She's not good at this. This new heel character of hers is very obnoxious. It seemed like her and Seth Rollins, when they sat in the house, they just decided to lose their goddamn minds. Like they both sat in the house and was like, you know what? I'm crazy. And he's like, me too. I'm crazy too. I'm just going to be a wild and crazy guy. And this is what we get on TV. The two of them wearing outlandish outfits and being annoying, as annoying as possible. It fits both characters, but come on, we're at the point now where I do not see how they can wrap this story up and make Bianca whole, which is what you should be shooting for. In this situation, what they have done is they had Becky Lynch create all this heat with Bianca. And then Bianca doesn't get made whole from being screwed at SummerSlam. She got cheap shotted and beat at SummerSlam. She was supposed to get made whole at the next event where she would have won the title. Instead, we double screwed her again by having Sasha Banks come out there. So you teased it and you yanked it away. And then you say, okay, we're going to have this triple threat match at Crown Jewel, which is nonsense. We shouldn't even need to do that. Then, of course, before that happens, we have Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in the SummerSlam match, which was supposed to happen. We had Sasha win because Becky was interfering. Now, we have Bianca wrestling Charlotte, and she loses. Well, she doesn't lose. She wins by disqualification because, again, Becky Lynch gets involved. So now we're at this point now where, again, you built up all this heat between Becky and Bianca. Where is the blow-off? When does the blow-off come? All right? At what point is she made whole again? You got 2 weeks to correct this before they separate it, right? So did she beat her in some random non-title match on TV where she just hits a KOD on Becky, pins her live in front of everybody, and then Becky goes off to be the champion? Because that sounds stupid. And I'm sure they are likely to do something like that, but that sounds stupid. It's ridiculous. She's caught up in this 4 horsewomen nonsense. When you know what that means. Nobody gets over but the 4 horsewomen. That's how it works. You got a shot against one of them. You ain't got no shot if there's more than one on that roster. You're in trouble. And Bianca's in trouble. she's not stuck on the roster with Charlotte, which is good. Becky ain't much better, man. She's another long-winded one. She talks too much. She has nothing to say. It's pointless. She just comes out there for the pops, and then she walks around. Demond's here. Demond. It's like, okay, whatever. When was the last time Becky Lynch cut a promo with substance? When she said she was pregnant. And that was last year. So she hasn't had anything. Like, she's had some really good character stuff. But I'm talking about something that really tells you that she's of an upper level on as far as women's wrestlers are concerned. Not since she's been back You know, she's done some good promos, but she hasn't really done much of anything. And again, Charlotte is a broken record. She literally just talks about how she's the queen, she's paved the way, she's the opportunity, yada yada yada. Again, just says the same thing over and over again. It seems to me that these characters have stopped growing, which is a problem. It's like that to me tells you that it's time to move them out of the way until we find something new for them to do. You know, there's nothing wrong with putting people on the back burner for a little while and saying we need to revamp this character somehow. You're just saying the same shit over and over again in a different way. We need to do something different. There should be no problem with that. Everybody should have to go through that at one point or another, where you have to go away for a while in order to refresh this character. Even if it's just you're going to change your finish. You know, I know Becky, you know, coming off of the pregnancy, she's been gone a year. Charlotte was off and on over the last year, but the characters still feel the same. You know, it feels like they never left because it doesn't feel like anything was gained in that time away. And it seems like they're actually just robbing somebody who actually was growing during that time in Bianca Belair, who was actually doing something different, you know, who was bringing something different to the roster. And now it seems like she's pushed back into the shadows because Damon's here and the Queen. Woo! And it's like, oh, fuck. You know, that really what makes the show very boring. You know, it's because it's like, okay, we've seen all the Charlotte stuff already. We've seen all the Becky stuff already. They don't do anything new every week. They just cut the same fucking promos. And that really, it's like, shrug. We're just stuck with this stuff. And we need something. We have so many different women on this roster. We should be doing different things. They need like a Millionaires Club versus New Blood storyline for the women's division. That's a Survivor Series. It's like the 4 horsewomen versus 4 new women. And they just beat them, obliterate them like the Shield did to Evolution. And we just send the 4 horsewomen off into the dawn for like 6 months. Don't come back till WrestleMania. Go away. And everybody comes back with new finishers, new theme music, haircuts, and something else. You know, just go away and do something different. You know, Sasha was gone for all that time. She came back and she's pretty much right back where she was, and nothing's changed. That's a problem, man. You can't be the same character for months and months and months. It's just, well, you can be the same character. I mean, you know, same fundamental character, but, you know, the look, the move set, the promos, everything just can't be the same, you know, because it makes everything feel like it's running together. And I really said to myself, what really was the difference between what they did on SmackDown and what they did tonight? There really was no difference. Becky was sitting at commentary on both nights, being bad, you know, at commentary and talking. She interfered in both matches. You know, in one match, she actually caused Bianca to lose. In the second one, she caused her to win by disqualification. It was like, it's stupid. It's dumb. Let's move on. Let's move on very quickly before I get upset and my blood pressure get too high. Jeff Hardy was defeated by Damian Priest in a match that shouldn't have happened again because Jeff Hardy always gets defeated by Damian Priest. Because Damian Priest always wins, which is a good thing. They shake hands afterwards. Jeff Hardy says that he cherished his time on Raw, but, you know, he has crashed back to reality, you know, a couple of times. And maybe SmackDown's opportunities for something different. And that it might be a time to show something new. It might be time to do something a little different. Show a different ego. And when he kind of said that with some emphasis. Then out comes Austin Theory. And Austin Theory is like, you know, he gives the NXT thing, this is my dream come true, which instantly made me cringe. And it didn't get him over with me. It got him under with me. The moment somebody says the word dream, I'm virtually vomiting already. And he said he grew up watching Jeff Hardy. He's inspired by Jeff, wants to take a selfie with Jeff. Jeff's like, all right, I'll humor this Make-A-Wish kid here. They take a picture. Austin Theory then heels on about catching him with a lariat. He hit him with some other kind of move, and then while Jeff is out, he took a selfie with the down Jeff Hardy and then thanked him. Okay, you know, I like this. This is good, you know. They're getting Austin Theory out to a good start. This got tremendous heat, and they got the reaction that they wanted because the moment he clotheslined Jeff, it was like boo. Probably got the most serious heat of the night because he fanboyed on him, he marked out on him for a little bit, and then clotheslined him. I'm wondering where we're going with this. He still seems a lot like Austin Theory in NXT and not like Austin Theory in Evolve. I want a little bit more Austin Theory from Evolve, which was a very cocky, very arrogant blue chip prospect. But of course, it was different because in Evolve, he kept talking about how Evolve is just a stepping stone to him getting NXT and being on Raw and SmackDown and that sort of thing. And how he was only 21 years old and he's already better than everybody. He can't do that on Raw right now, because he's at the show already. He's at the next level. He has to do something, but I want a little bit more of that and a little less of the doofy jock from NXT where, he was the son of Gargano or whatever. I'm not thrilled about that, but I'm willing to give it a chance to see how far it goes. But he got my attention. Let's put it like that. So I'm guessing Jeff Hardy's going to wrestle Austin Theory next week, which is probably going to be one of the last Jeff Hardy's last matches before he leave. All right, so RK Bro. Riddle said last week absolutely sucked without Randy, but it's time to get sweet revenge. He made some homosexual innuendo stuff about Randy glistening and Randy having snakes in his pockets and, just very weird stuff, man. Just very weird stuff. Randy says that, they're going to shut up AJ and Amos. Then he challenged Amos to a match. And I instantly cringed at the thought of these teams wrestling again for any reason other than the loser must break up. I'm really disturbed by this Amos and AJ Styles versus RK Bro thing. I'm just disgusted by this continuing. So throughout the night, they started the story of will Amos answer the challenge of Randy Orton? The answer to that question is no. AJ Styles calls Randy Orton insignificant and said Amos would destroy him. They got into an argument. They started to fight. AJ Styles catches an RKO. And so we didn't do anything here. We didn't further this story much at all. Anyway, nothing was furthered except AJ Styles eats another RKO. Boo hoo hoo. Who gives a damn? So you thought there was going to be some big dramatic angle involving the Usos and Paul Heyman where they were going to loom over Paul Heyman all evening as he tries to make backdoor deals with Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce, and how every draft class is Paul Heyman chewing his nails, hoping that the SmackDown picks the Usos, and every time it's somebody other than the Usos, and Heyman is like, I'm working on it. I promise it's going to be the Usos eventually. I promise. And then maybe at the very last pick of the night, it's the Usos. You thought that was going to happen? It didn't. The Usos were picked super early. In fact, I think they was picked in the first goddamn round. They wasted everybody's fucking time. They had a good hook where, hey, Paul Heyman's going to go to SmackDown. Going to go to Raw, rather, to finagle the Usos back to SmackDown. All they had to do was go out throughout the evening of Paul being an absolute slime ball, of him trying to talk, even they could just show him on the phone saying he's talking to Fox executives. And then he could say, we got it, it's the Usos. I guarantee it. And then it's Ricochet, and they like, what? And Paul could be like, bop, and try to explain what happened. Like we got another pick, and then it's like, Xia Li, and then he's like, what? Like, oh, this is ridiculous. And you could have built upon that whole thing all night with, them purposefully making him wait to pick the Usos so that they could, do some real damage to Paul. But no, they didn't do that. They just picked the Usos really early, and that was essentially the story. No, So I was like, okay, well, they had a big opportunity here. They shit on it. So what did we get from Heyman and the Usos? Heyman took credit for the Usos being drafted early. Then he was asked about Brock Lesnar's free agent status, if he was the one who pulled his backstage puppetry in order to get Brock a free agent spot. The Usos looked at him like he was a piece of meat, and that was it. That's all they did all night. That's it. They were on Raw for literally nothing. That's the kind of stuff that frustrates people who are trying to follow storylines on Raw. That's frustrating as fuck. You set up this storyline that was really cool. Again, it was a great hook for Raw. And all you had to do was replay that clip at the beginning that Roman is watching and that he fully expects the Usos to be drafted to SmackDown. And then find 100 reasons why the Usos haven't been drafted to SmackDown and Xia Li and Ricochet and all those guys have been. Say, oh, they don't want to pick you guys right now because of your behavior, the arrests and everything. They're kind of looking at it as a way of getting rid of you guys. Or there's somebody, some shadowy figure in the back working against Paul who is trying to, screw him and trying to get the Usos drafted to Raw, or something. Anything to create drama, to create story, to create a hook, to create a reason to watch SmackDown, to reason to continue watching this show. They didn't do it. This is absolute cancer. This is cancer. Imagine somebody write a story, a whodunit, and then the detective finds out who did it. Literally on the next page. You set up this big elaborate thing. There's blood. There's bloody boot prints on the floor of the living room. Seems to be about a size 13. You walk through the house. You go upstairs. You go into the husband's dressing room. Oh, here's the size 13 boots. They're covered in blood. He must have done it. And it's like, oh, okay. So we're going to find out that the husband was getting framed. It was like, nope, he just admits that he did it. Like, oh, yeah, I did. I killed her. Fuck you. What kind of story is that? Like, that's not detective work. What is that? That's what this is. This is nothing. It's not a story. This sucks. This really pissed me off about Raw, too. This is one of the many things that pissed me off about Raw. It was so frustrating. All right, so Shayna Baszler defeats Dana Brooke, as she should. Post-match, Baszler is about to snap the arm of Dana Brooke, and then here comes Doudrop. Doudrop, finally a babyface, why she was skipping and dancing, I have no idea. Which is, why was you skipping and dancing? What was the point of that? She comes out to protect Dana Brooke. Dana Baszler hits her in the back. And Doudrop doesn't really sell it. She kind of absorbed it and gave Shayna Baszler a stare. Like do it again. I dare you to do it again. And Shayna Baszler was like, should I? And she kept looking at Doudrop, and Doudrop kept looking at her, and they kept looking at each other. And I was just kind of like, somebody do something. And then Baszler kind of suddenly backed off. And I was like, okay. All right. So I'm okay with a babyface just being a babyface and not wanting to see somebody get brutally injured. I'm not okay with Doudrop just letting Shayna Baszler hit her. That should have been an impetus for Doudrop to say grab Shayna Baszler and launch her into the crowd or something like that. And just to get Doudrop over. Like, you have so many opportunities to get people over. And I know that Shayna is the one you're building right now, but if you're going to send Doudrop out there to be the protector, then let her be the protector. It should include herself. If Shayna hits her, she should have slapped Shayna in the face, and then Shayna back down. Because you want to show that the heel is a coward. Cowardly heel stuff. You back down when you're confronted, which is what they were doing here. But they should have had Doudrop retaliate to Shayna Baszler hitting her. I know a lot of people are like, why would Doudrop care about Dana Brooke? Why would she care? Because she's a babyface. And this is a good babyface thing. I hate the music. I don't like that they played the music. And I don't like she did part of her entrance when she was dancing and stuff. I mean, it's they have to get people out of that. You have to have some instincts, man. She should have ran to the ring and stopped this, you know. But that's a minor thing. Angel Garza and Alberto Carrillo defeated Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, as they should. Big E, who came out at, I don't know, 9 o'clock, said that last week was some challenges because he won the title. He faced Lashley in a match that was, the most brutal of his career, and that they split the New Day again, but he is still our rightful WWE champion. And he says that McIntyre declared himself a contender and asked him to come out there and speak his mind. McIntyre congratulated him, shook his hand, mentioned that E cashed in on an injured Lashley, but said ultimately Lashley deserved it. And said, yes, I do want a championship match. You liberated the titles. Now I want a title match. Let's get it. Then Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler came out in what was probably the most puzzling. I was just kind of like, what on earth is happening here? Why does Dolph Ziggler want to talk to these guys? And then they did something that made sense. Dolph Ziggler starts talking about how he's inspirational and that he should be thanked for bringing Big E into WWE in 2013 as his bodyguard. That he was Big E's mentor, and that without Big E, without Dolph Ziggler, there is no New Day. Without New Day, Big E is never the WWE champion. Then he looked at Drew McIntyre and said, I brought you back too. I mentored you as well. And all I want, because I'm a gentleman, is a thank you. And that these two guys rode his coattails. And all he wants is a thank you. Drew McIntyre makes a joke about Dolph Ziggler upgrading. It was about Robert Roode, apparently. This led Robert Roode to say that he was twice the friend and a better tag team partner than McIntyre was. And it says that he put the body in bodyguard and that they call him Big Bob. They call him Big Bob. I think Lashley is Big Bob. He's also a Bob, and he's very big. Much bigger than Rude. But it was funny. It was a funny line, at least. Drew McIntyre refers to himself as Big D, which... and then they decide to have a tag team match, which, of course, Big E and Drew McIntyre win. Then Drew gets his match at Crown Jewel. I'm like, okay. Now, I do like the idea that we're not forgetting that Dolph Ziggler did all these wonderful things for Big E and Drew McIntyre. But of all the times to use history, they choose to use it in a match they're just going to throw away on TV. Like, I love how Dolph Ziggler is sort of like the welcome mat for the main event. He's a great gatekeeper. Where I've said on Twitter that he's probably going to be the guy that works with Gabe Stevenson when he comes in. It's probably going to be a lot of Dolph Ziggler because Dolph is an amateur wrestler and he has a ton of experience with the WWE style. So I expect them two to work together a lot. Hell, maybe Dolph might even be one of the guys that has ended up training them. But I like that they use the history of Big E and the history of Drew McIntyre with Dolph. I just wish they would do it more often. They don't do this stuff nearly enough, and it was a good chance. But I think that we kind of, I'm actually kind of glad it didn't lead into a Dolph Ziggler wants a title match situation, which it very well seemed like that's where it was going. That would have been good. Reginald got tricked by Drake Maverick and the crew into talking to Adam Pearce. Who didn't know anything about what Reginald wanted. The Viking Raiders were there. R-Truth, Jackson Riker, all was chasing him. He ended up running past Apollo Crews, who was just wanted to shake his hand and welcome and say, hey, I remember you from SmackDown. But he was being chased by the 24/7 gang. And Apollo Crews was like, Commander Aziz, I told you this was going to be very entertaining. Bad. Very, very bad. WWE is promoting The Miz on Dancing with the Stars. I don't know. Did The Miz lose yet? No? Oh, whatever. Kevin Owens walked to the ring for literally no reason. He walked to the ring, stood in said ring. They did draft picks. They came back. He was still in said ring. They had microphones. Then Akira Tozawa interrupted him. Akira Tozawa then challenged Reggie, said he didn't have a problem with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens then stuns Akira Tozawa and walks to the back. He said nothing. He almost literally did nothing. What was the reason for him walking to the ring? What did he walk to the ring for? What? Come on. There was no reason for him to walk to the ring. What was he in the ring for? Oh, he was in the ring to do a stunner to Akira Tozawa. Oh, why was that necessary? Why was that necessary? Stupid. Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley defeat Natalya and Tamina for the 100th fucking time. Man, I can't. Oh, God. Natalya and Tamina need to be handcuffed to radiators and away from these tag team championships. Anything that involves Natalya that doesn't involve her being pervy with her sister is fucking nuclear shit. She can do pervy shit with her sister. Which, it is what it is. Did you see them with the pumpkin spice things, man? And they had like all over their face, like the cream and stuff like all over their face. Like, what is wrong with these people? Why is she and her sister doing like incest porn? Like lightweight incest porn on Twitter. Or is it Facebook? What are they doing this on? YouTube? Why are they doing this? Like, is this a side effect of Jimmy Anvil Neidhart doing drugs his whole career? Is now his daughters are acting like goddamn incest porn stars on YouTube? What the hell's going on? Like, that's the only thing tolerable about Natalya, and it's weird. Her and her sister have like giant boobs, and they're doing like freak shit all the time, like spanking each other, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's disturbing and erotic. It's not good, man. I don't like that. I don't like how that makes me feel. Pause on all that. Speaking of not liking how it makes me feel, Bill Goldberg comes out there and he continues his death threats on the almighty Bob. He says again he doesn't believe that Lashley attacked his son by accident. Wasn't no miscommunication. Wasn't no misunderstanding. Lashley once again said it was a misunderstanding. I don't know why the heel is so reasonable. Like, why is he? This is like Dolph Ziggler. Like, why is the heel so reasonable? Like, hey man, it was a mistake. It's kind of like a half-ass apology. Like, look, man, I wring your son's neck. My bad. It was an accident. It was a misunderstanding. I didn't know it was him. It's like, come on. Then Lashley said that he doesn't want to risk his expensive suit wrestling with Goldberg because he doesn't dress like it's 1998. Then he says that all of this stuff is character assassination and he wanted an apology. It says that I'll accept your match, but under one condition. The match has to be nose holds barred. To which Goldberg gets on his knees and says, thank you. And said, nose holds barred gives me a license to kill. And said that he's going to apologize to his kids. And says that you're next, but you're not just not next. You're dead. And I was just like, my God, Goldberg, come on, man. Like, ease up. Ease up. Of course, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander attacked Bill Goldberg and got beat up. Because who cares, right? They've gone from the hurt business to the get hurt business. Then, of course, they get hurt more because they lose to the New Day in a later match. Of course, they tried to dress it up by saying, oh, they got beat up by Goldberg earlier, so that's why they lost, guys. They lost because they got beat up by Goldberg. Nah, get the hell out of here, man. Seth Rollins comes out, cackling like a Batman villain, dressed like a pimp from 2040. It's just very strange, man. He got to drop the S-bomb. He's been building that up for a week. He probably been waiting to drop the word shit on TV for a long time. And then he finally on cable, so now he can do it. Couldn't do it on SmackDown. It's broadcast TV. The FCC might fine WWE for that. But he got to drop the S-bomb. Said he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about Edge. Don't want to hear about Edge. Doesn't give a shit who steps to him because he is the revolutionary. He has the vision. He's the king, the visionary of drip. And he was cackling and laughing. And I was just kind of like, okay. You know, I don't know. Man. So that was That was Raw, rather. Okay. Raw is not good. It wasn't fun for me. The draft was very frustrating. The matches were not satisfying. The angles did not live up. There were no really in-ring stories for me to sink my teeth into. The show was bad, and it was bad probably on purpose. You know, to create a show this bad, it had to be on purpose at this point. You have access to both rosters because, you know, there's people who are jumping to Raw early, like Bianca Belair, and you have people who are in Street Profits who were there, but you still didn't do anything with them. And we rushed the New Day and the Hurt Business angle because instead of building it up and letting us have the big 6-man tag or something like that, they just said, oh, we're just going to throw the tag team match out there and the Hurt Business is going to lose. Okay, well, fuck it. If you don't care, I don't care, man. No, so it is what it is. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel, man. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.